Welcome to Insights into Success. We're with your host Paul Dodds. We hope to educate, inspire and motivate you to achieve your own personal success. We talk to guests from all around the world from a variety of walks of life to hear the realities of their own journey to success. What challenges have they faced? How have they coped with failure? And what have been the keys or will be the keys to their own success? In our Read to Succeed interviews, we talk books that have inspired our guests, and for some, they share their secrets to marketing success. Join us as we give you insights into success. So welcome back to Insights into Success, where we're doing the short segment now called Read to Succeed, and our special guest from our recent interview, Kelly McDonald, has agreed to come back and share with us her inspiration on reading. So thank you, Kelly, for agreeing to stay on. Can you kick it off by just telling us about a couple of books that you've read, what they're called, what they're about, and what it was for you that really inspired you?
The first book that really inspired me, like in my life, and to this day is my all-time favorite book, is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Happily, yeah.
And honestly, when I think back on it now, it was about diversity.
Yeah, it's true.
It was about diversity and equity. So that's my favorite all-time fiction book, and it's absolutely evergreen. You know, it's just as relevant today as it was then, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. My favorite business book is actually a book that from a woman I know who's also a professional speaker, and it's called Innovation is Everybody's Business. And the author is Tamara Gondor, and I'll spell that. It's Tamara, Tamara Gondor, Ghandour. And Tamara's take on innovation, because that's a big buzzword, Paul, in business, of course, is that a lot of people who work and could contribute to forward progress in an organization relative to innovation are intimidated by that word, because they think that innovation means that there's a bunch of really smart people working in an ivory tower somewhere, you know, coming up with big ideas. And they think that's like not them. And the reality is in business day to day, every single person can contribute to innovation in an organization, you know, and when you have that idea of like, oh my gosh, it would be better if we did it this way. Boom, that's innovation, you know, and it's those small things that can really propel a company forward. And she makes it very, very accessible. She's fun, she's funny, she's a great writer. And that is my book that I recommend, because it's also evergreen. And it's just a really great take on, this isn't somebody else's job. If you work, you can be innovative.
Yeah, so true. But being an organization where they embrace that and encourage their communication to share is key, isn't it?
Yep, it sure is.
Yeah. And just given you're an author, how hard is it? Like, how hard has it been for you to write a book in a manner that really people find easy to read and really connect with? Because like you read some books and it's just like the author just doesn't quite get it, you know what I mean? And it's hard work. There can be some good stuff in there, but it's not an enjoyable read. And then you read other books where the writer's just really good and they just convey it in such a way that's an easy read and really enjoyable. What's the keys to that, the secrets to that?
The secret is, and I will give it to you, that my editor gave it to me because, of course, my first book, I felt like I needed to sound smart, Paul. You know, I mean, I got this book deal from Wiley, you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be like the smartest person on marketing ever. And so I was writing the content, but in this like really dry, almost scientific way about, you know, and he just tore it all to pieces. And he said, wow, just talk to me, Kelly. He goes, just write the way we talked. And he said, be yourself. Just write it down the way that you would if you were having coffee with a friend of yours and they said, you know, what do you know about this? Just the way. So I will tell you that with every book that I've written, I write the way I talk, and people who have actually heard me speak will say, I got your book, I read it. Oh my gosh, you write exactly the way that you talk. And that's what makes it accessible for people. People do not want to read an encyclopedia. They do not want a professor. They don't want a textbook. They want, just tell me what I need to know. And, fewer is better. They don't want to wade through 600 pages to get to the information that they need or want.
Yeah.
Every one of my books has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter over time. And so the other advice I would give is just get to it. You don't need to ramp up. You might say, you picked up this book because you want to learn how to save money and invest money. Here's 5 ways to do that. Just get to it. People are busy. The attention span isn't there. Give them what they want and make it as plain speaking. And the other thing is examples.
Right.
People will not remember the principle that you're teaching, but they will remember the example that drove it home. So everything you say in terms of a principle, like do this, then explain why, and then back it up with here's 4 examples of that.
Right. That makes sense. And with writing books these days, is there an expectation that you must write a certain number of pages for a book, or could you literally make it whatever length you want?
I think, no, the answer is there's no expectation. I do think that business books, a lot of people feel like in order to be considered an expert in their field, they need to write, a hefty book like 300 pages. I can tell you right now, from the fact that I sell books and sign books at all of my speaking engagements, and the very first thing that people do, forgive me for rolling back here, the very first is they look at the spine of a book and
see how thick it is.
Yeah, and they'll actually say to me like, "Oh, this isn't bad. I'll read this." They do not want to read a book that's this thick, And so the other thing is you do need to understand this, and this is not something that any of us can change. The attention span isn't there anymore. It just isn't.
That's what I was thinking.
My last book was 110 pages and like 13 chapters. And each chapter was like 6 or 7 pages. That's another piece of advice I'll give is make your chapters short, because a lot of people fall into bed at night and they want to read. They do not want to read a 40-page chapter. They're tired. They want to have the stopping point. Give them frequent stopping points. So make your chapters short and tight. There's nothing wrong with a 4-page chapter, because somebody's going to get in bed. They're going to look at this and they're going to go, "Oh yeah, this is a good chapter. I wonder how long it is. Oh, that's not bad. All right, I'll read that."
Yeah.
Otherwise, you become in the pile that is sitting on the nightstand that never gets read.
Yeah. No, that's why I asked that question, because I'm conscious of that, people's attention spans shortening. And like you said, it's a smart move to shorten up your chapters for that very reason too. So people, like if they see a big book, I've read a great book recently, but it was intimidating to read it. This book here, but it's a massive book. Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature, great book, but it's a massive book to read,
Yeah. No, that would be very off-putting for probably 80% of all people who read, because they would be saying to themselves, "Oh my gosh, that looks intimidating," and then they're going to be thinking it's going to take me forever to get through it, or I'm probably never going to read it because of what it looks like. Yeah. I want people to pick up my books and be, "Wow, that's great. Look how skinny it is,"
Yeah, that's achievable.
And that's real, and that's not going to change. The attention span is just getting shorter and shorter,
Yeah, no, for sure. Now tell me, how often do you read?
How often do I read? I read every day. I read every day.
And do you is it structured that you go at a certain time of the day you do reading, or is it just in between things?
No, it's at night.
Right. And what about your reading style? Do you like audio, a hard book? No. Do you like Kindle? What do you like?
I like the page. I like the tactile. I actually like the tactile change. Yeah. And I mean, I have all of those options, right? And I've done all of that. But what I like is I like the turning of the page,
Okay. And another question: if I was to get one of your books, what would it look like? Would it have like a book that you've read? Would it have like sticky notes in it, highlighted? What would it look like, or would it be in pristine condition?
It would probably be in pristine condition, and I'm not big on sticky notes. I mean, for fiction, not at all. Yeah. For a business book, maybe, but even then, this is going to sound really weird, but I have a really, really good memory, And when I read
it
something
does.
that like really snaps something into focus for me,
Yeah.
I won't forget it. I mean, I
Wow.
might have to like go back through the book if I needed to find it again, but I usually don't even need to find it because I've got it then. You know, it's just,
Really.
yeah,
Lucky you. I wish
yeah,
I was like
yeah.
that. Yeah, no, because that's what was going to be my final question is what do you do to retain the key information, the key points from a book? But you're saying you just naturally remember it.
One thing I will do, I'll share, is if I'm, reading and I don't want to get out of bed and put sticky notes all over my book, I have notes in my phone like you wouldn't believe,
Right.
and I will just write down here. I'll tell you about one that that I just came across the other day, and I wrote this down because I'm going to use it. And it said, "Certainty is the enemy of unity. Certainty is the enemy of tolerance."
Interesting.
Because if you're certain in your beliefs, if you're certain you're right, or you're certain that, whatever, there's no opportunity for me to engage with you and give you an alternate perspective.
No.
So I wrote that down because it stopped me in my tracks. Certainty is the enemy of unity. Certainty is the enemy of tolerance. Is that brilliant or what?
Yeah, it is in that context. I didn't get it for a start, but when you explained the context, yeah, it is. It's so true.
I'm right. I'm right.
Yeah.
You can't tell me anything different. I'm right.
Blinkers are on.
Yeah, I'm certain. There's no, and that, going back to CEOs and stuff, the best CEOs are the ones that are saying, I don't know everything. Talk to me.
Yeah.
What do I need to know? Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing with that is it's setting aside your ego, isn't it? Problem is ego can be a real problem where it doesn't enable you to actually sit back and listen to other people's perspectives and take it on board and consider the possibility you could be wrong on something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kelly. Well, thank you so much. It's been an awesome interview. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share with me. And no, it's been fantastic. So all the best. It's going to be Christmas time shortly, so it's kind of a scary thing. I guess for you guys, you'll probably have White Christmas, possibly. Definitely not for us.
We already do.
You already do? Yeah. Well, we've got the sunshine. It's very humid here at the
moment.
So,
right?
Yeah. So for people that in the Northern Hemisphere, I think they struggle to comprehend what must a Christmas be like with sun, because everything, all the imagery we're exposed to around the world is of cold, snowing Christmases. So that we don't have. Yeah. All right. Well, all the best, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much to your listeners and viewers for tuning in. I've really enjoyed every minute.